Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to All in Good Sport. My name's Chris Tarkle, and I'm here with Joe Rainbow.
Hello.
Alfie Langford.
Hello.
And James Blackburn.
How are we?
Very well. It's been a bloody interesting weekend in sport.
Very.
And I'm really excited to actually get into it and talk about it. I watched, on my Saturday, I spent between 3 p.m. and 7 a.m. I was watching sport.
You spent
the
half of
whole
it in
day.
Old Bar, didn't you? Just watching games.
No, not even this week. I was back
it
home
last
this
week?
week.
Oh, right.
I was back home this weekend. But I sat in front of my home TV and just watched every bit of sport that I possibly could. So I had a great weekend. Anyone get up to anything fun? Anything exciting? I know, Jimmy, you went home.
I did, and I watched Chippenham Town live for the first time in a couple of months.
Oh, yeah.
We were shite. Well, not even that shite, but we did lose 2-0 to Hampton and Richmond Borough.
Is that an expected result? Is that out of the ordinary?
Two very mid-table teams, and we were dominating them, and then they scored a banger against the run of play, as happens so often, and then try and play out the back at the start of the second half, give away a silly penalty, you're 2-0 down, keep knocking on the door, hit the bar, hit the post, and just, nothing happened, game petered out.
That stinks.
Does stink.
Yeah.
Look, I had the opportunity to go to the Man United West Ham game yesterday, but I'm glad I didn't for reasons we'll get onto. But that is the biggest news of the week, isn't it?
That will be. I think we will spend a lot of time talking about that this week. We're not even going to reveal what that is because I think everyone knows what that is.
Yeah.
If you are even remotely interested in football, it's a story I think that we have. I think spoken about the possibility of happening maybe every week since this podcast
months
begun.
and months and months. It's been
I reckon if we go and listen back to the very first podcast, I reckon we probably spoke about it.
He's probably got me saying he's going to go next week.
But yeah, I mean, are we gonna? Is that what we're going to open with?
We're going to lead with the sacking of Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag.
Do you want me to tell you how I found out this morning? We just finished a lecture actually, and Jimmy goes to the toilet and we're going off to do a bit of studying. And he bursts out the loo and goes, "Ten Hag, been sacked!" right in my face, and I'm like, "Okay."
It was relief, Joe. I was very
I
relieved.
bet it was, yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like the sort of overwhelming feeling for United fans is a sense of relief.
Yeah. It's just.
I'm going to sort of.
Yeah, but you've been in this position how many times? Is it sort of relief or is it more frustration of yet another one's not worked out?
I think a bit of that,
Do you know what I mean?
Like, it is very frustrating that, this guy who came in, highly touted manager, was looking...
What's going on here?
I have no idea what's going on with these lights.
For reference, I'm trying to fix the lights, but they're not behaving like they normally do. So just you crack on. I'm going to try and fix
Mastermind.
Whilst he does that, we'll talk about Erik ten Hag and how, I think, as every Man United fan did, want him to succeed. And there were signs of progress. League Cup win in his first season, first trophy since Mourinho. And then we kind of regress towards the end of that season. And then we have a shocking season in the league and in Europe last year. The underlying stats are basically relegation form, a negative goal difference, and players just falling off the cliff. Think Casemiro, think Anthony. But that was masked with the FA Cup win, a really fantastic moment for the club.
Beat Man City, didn't you?
Yeah, beat Man City. That's always a great feeling. And played really well in that final as well. Were the deserved winners. And that gave the new board, Ineos, a decision to make. And they chose to back him, extend his contract, trigger the 1-year clause, back him in the market, sign Matthijs de Ligt, who he's worked with before, Mazraoui, who he's worked with before, Ugarte, who he's not worked with before, but £60 million spent suggests that, these guys are confident that Ten Hag can turn it around. And he's had 9 league games, he's had 3 European games, and we're 14th in the league with a -3 goal difference. We're 21st in the new Europa League out of 36. There is no style of play.
That, isn't it?
The players can't finish their dinner. First of all, that's the biggest problem. The minus our expected goal difference versus our actual goals is ridiculous. Something like underperforming by 7 goals or something. Only 9 games into the season. And I think we could see from the start of the season that this team was no better than the absolute calamity of last year, and it was an inevitability that Ten Hag would go, and finally he has.
Well, I think the biggest thing with Ten Hag as well compared to your previous managers is this is all his team. He's had, and I saw a graphic earlier that said he was spent £401 million was given to him to spend on his own players. These are his players. You know, he's got no one to blame really apart from himself and who he's brought in. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like he can hide behind, you know, Jose Mourinho's players when you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, or the vice versa going further back. These are his players that he's signed and have just not worked.
Absolutely. And the one thing that, well, there are many things that I dislike about Ten Hag, his management style. He's not a good communicator. He's a really poor communicator. He doesn't get his ideas across, and I think that might be a little bit of a language barrier. Obviously, Dutch is his first language, but he can't seem to get across to the media.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
What his style of play was, how he wanted Man United to perform, and he never took responsibility when he needed to. He wasn't one to go out and properly protect his players and say, I got the tactics wrong today. You know, just this week gone, he was saying that he doesn't count the Spurs fixture as a loss because there was a red card early in the game, and that changed the game. You know, it was never his fault, and his stubbornness and his ego, I think, has gotten to this point where he could not succeed in this environment.
Well, I think that indecisiveness in front of the sort of the media sort of reflects, you know, in front of his players as well. Do you know what I mean? So it sort of puts on the front for the media, you know. It just hasn't sort of taken him very far, has it? You know what I mean?
No, he's. And Chris, have you got thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, Ten Hag to me has never. It's been something that's been sort of said about him since the start, but you look at a lot of managers within the league, and you can very easily see what their kind of tactical vision is, what they're trying to do with their players. Ten Hag, from an outside perspective, as someone who kind of vaguely follows Man United in the same way that I vaguely follow all the other Premier League clubs, you don't get a sense of that. You never got a sense of what he was actually trying to do. There didn't feel like there was a vision. It felt like he was kind of throwing enough shit at the wall and seeing what would stick. Like, it just felt very, I don't know, it felt jumbled. And like you said, the lack of communication, I think, doesn't help that, because he's not a particularly great speaker in press conferences. Like, you look at someone like, and again, I love this man, so you look at Gary O'Neill, who is, you know, very open and very honest.
But even with foreign managers, you think Jose Mourinho?
Yeah, Jose Mourinho.
Pep Guardiola.
Pep's a fantastic communicator.
Mikel Arteta.
And this is what I mean. And in that sense, you get a sense of what they're trying to do. When something goes wrong, they go, "This is what we would, you know, this is our aim." But with Ten Hag, it was kind of there was a vagueness around it.
And I think that vagueness has only been kind of amplified since Arne Slot has come into the league. Another bull Dutch manager.
I know,
and it looks like we got the wrong one.
He's taken it by storm, hasn't he? Because, I mean, did he get nominated for Manager of the Month in his first month in charge?
Well, he must have done, but they're second in the league
And
now.
they're flying.
Yeah. You know, and these are not his players. They only made one signing, and Chiesa doesn't even play for them at the moment. Slot, when Liverpool dismantled United 3-0 at Old Trafford, after the game, he explained basically what United's tactics were before Erik Ten Hag could, and explained how he could bypass that.
That was very cool, to be fair, and there was a lot of like praise for that on Twitter. But that's the thing, Slot seems like someone who knows what he's doing. Ten Hag never had that. There's not one moment that I could point to and go, yeah, that's where Ten Hag cooked.
Well, it goes back to that indecisiveness, doesn't it? He just didn't have a plan.
No.
Or it didn't seem as though he had a plan anyway.
Like, he made ruthless decisions, especially in his first season, you know. De Gea. He went and brought in Onana. You know, he's finally learnt to drop Anthony after backing him for a long time. He's not afraid to make enemies or...
I mean, look at Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, exactly.
Scenario, similar.
And I thought he handled that situation really well.
Oh, so did I, yeah.
Sancho's not exactly setting the world alight at Chelsea. But it was tactically, I think he was not, you know, he never got his ideas across to the media. He didn't seem to get his ideas across to the players as well. And we've been the worst for it. And I think it can't get any worse.
If you take it back, he was really successful at Ajax, wasn't he? So that's why obviously why he took the job.
But he never played
But-
the Ajax way.
But is that what did he not try to implement that in
No.
in the United
That was-
side?
I think
Is
that's
that
what
it
brought
was?
a lot of questions in. Was when he came in, everyone kind of expected him to go, "Okay, this is my Ajax system. Let's implement that."
So this is what Pep
And
Guardiola has
United never ever. Yeah, you look at Pep.
done. Other managers who've had
Pepper's
successful
always played the
systems,
same way. And he's built on what went
You know.
well, and he's dropped what
you
didn't
don't
work.
change
Yeah.
a great tactic, do you?
He's a
That's-
great innovator,
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola.
His book is a really great read. Like that's really interesting because he actually like
What's
he
it,
had
what's it called again?
I
It's
can't remember,
something-
but he had a biographer like follow him around and like
yeah.
and they kind of talked about how he kind of comes up with what he comes up with, and it's a really interesting system. Like definitely worth a read.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ten Hag again. It just felt like he was a bit tactically inept. That's the biggest sort of takeaway from his time at United for me was someone who was just out of his depth.
And looking back on it, he's never signed quite the right players that fit. I mean,
Well, Rasmus Højlund doesn't fit.
I really like
That-
Rasmus
that
Højlund, and I
system.
think he can succeed, but there's no senior striker in that team. There's no one that he can learn from. He can only learn from Ruud van Nistelrooy as an assistant, but there's no senior figure there.
As under Ten Hag, who was the best signing that you guys made?
Well, I'd probably say Lissandro Martinez.
Yeah, I was-
but
Yeah.
even then, this season, I think the injuries might have affected Martinez, and he's clearly not the player he was when he first came in. I think Onana's actually been the biggest improver under Ten Hag. He started with this horrible Champions League campaign where he made so many unforced errors that basically crashed United out of the group stage. But since then, he's actually a pretty solid shot stopper, and this season he's saved us from embarrassment at several points.
But can Ten Hag ever be forgiven for signing Anthony for 95
It's
million
ridiculous,
euros?
isn't it? I mean, he was with him at Ajax, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Is that right?
Yeah, that guy is a £20 million player.
And once
Like,
again,
Yeah, but you look at, but even like Mudryk, do you remember all the thing about Mudryk? Obviously not on a United front, but Mudryk was so much money. Anthony was so much money. Both are wank. They're both 20 mil
I think it's what it is. It's coming from leagues, obviously, who don't. In all fairness to them, the Dutch league and was it the Ukrainian league when he was playing Shakhtar Donetsk, wasn't it? When you compare them to the Premier League,
Oh, it's
and you got that
isn't it?
much money on the table. It's the same with players who've come from the Portuguese league.
Yeah.
Sort of. Give me an example.
Portuguese league. Who's signed from the Portuguese league and is shit?
and his shit. Most of them are
Pedro
good.
Goncalves. How did he do at Spurs? Did he go to Spurs?
No,
No.
he was at Wolves originally, then went to Sporting, I want to say.
But whatever.
Joao
Yeah.
Felix.
There we go.
There you are.
Yeah, but I don't think he's a bad player.
No, I think most of the Portuguese ones are good.
Yeah, I think
got
Portugal's
Ed-
not one you could single out.
This
as
is obviously the Wolves
Edison
striker
Ru-
you paid 30 million for. He was
Fabio
from-
Silva was an
Silva.
18-year-old and
But,
was a future investment.
people who
that
are
got
coming
thrown in
from
at the deep end. I'm
these-
not. No, I won't hear Fabio Silva slander.
Do you think?
No,
Oh,
because he was an
okay.
18-year-old kid who had to play Premier League football. The plan was for Jimenez to play for Wolves for the next 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
then Fabio to be his successor.
Yeah.
The problem was Jimenez got
Yeah.
injured that season, and we threw an 18-year-old in the deep
knocked out
end
a bit.
who had barely played any senior football. I
Yeah.
can't hold it against. I don't
No.
like Fabio Silva, but I'm not gonna. I don't. Yeah, I will never blame him and think of him as a bad footballer.
Yeah.
I think he got a bad luck of the draw.
Yeah. But I mean, going back to that point, I think he's just spent money in the wrong places. Anthony was
Anthony, that's terrible.
It's
an absolute waste of money.
Yeah.
I've
And-
got a little quiz that I've
Go on.
made, a Man United quiz. Anthony is involved in this first question.
Nice.
So this is a 4-question quiz about kind of Erik Ten Hag's time at United. And the first question: Anthony cost 95 million euros, and he scored 3 goals in his first 3 Premier League fixtures. Since then, how many league goals has Anthony scored?
I want to say 1 or 2.
So how long ago was this in terms of dates?
So
year and a half ago.
Anthony signed
Tell you.
in
2 years ago?
2022.
Yeah,
2 years
the
ago.
8th of August, or the 29th of August,
Summer of 2022.
He scored
Okay.
against Arsenal on his debut
Mhm.
at home, and then he scored a consolation goal against Man City, and then he scored against Everton. So this is early. This
Okay.
was
Okay.
late 2022.
I bet you was sat there at that point thinking, "Oh, got right player in our hands here."
He has scored in other competitions as well. He scored against Barcelona in the Europa League.
Mhm.
That was quite a high point of Ten Hag's reign, I thought. But yeah, I'm asking for league goals here, so I want an answer from each of you.
I think
I
one.
think it's going to be abysmal,
Minimal,
isn't it?
yeah.
I think one.
I'm going to go 2.
I'm going to go 2. Although I wouldn't be surprised if it was 0. I am going to say 2.
The answer is 2.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anthony, 95 million euros
Shocking,
since
isn't it?
October 2022.
So that's 5 league goals that he scored. Quick maths, what 92? And it's a 9.
95 over 5.
No, over 5.
Right.
Well, that's like 19.
19
£1 million a goal.
19 million pounds
Oh
per
my
league goal.
That's worse than the Have you seen the Alexis Sanchez stat for Man United, where it's something like he was getting £300,000 a
At least
touch?
Sanchez was like on
Something
a
like that.
free, or
So-
like it was a swap deal or whatever. But oh my god.
That is-
That's mental.
Okay.
That's awful. Is there like, is there in
A
terms of
worse.
financially?
There
is
must
there a
be.
financial
There must
bigger
be.
flop?
I mean, think about Mudryk. Yeah, he used more
Yeah, but
money.
Mudryk was 80.
And oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, was he not 100
I thought it was
million?
100 million. We're talking euros.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Let me check.
Because I mean, Mudryk.
Think about, I tell you who will be worse value for money over his accumulated transfer fees is Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
100 million.
to Chelsea because
And-
he went for, was it about 70 million? And then he went back and then came back for another 100 odd.
But at least he kind of
And
looks
back and
decent
forth.
at times.
Okay.
And he is a goal. Like the
Yeah.
guy's still banging them in.
Yeah.
It's just
Yes.
it wasn't working out there. Anthony, I don't think anyone in the Premier League would take him.
Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't want
Would you not
Anthony
have
at
him at
Wolves.
Wolves?
No, I actually wouldn't.
I think I'd have him at Bradford City.
Do you think Ipswich would take Anthony?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I would.
I
Yeah.
think it would.
Do you think?
I wouldn't
Southampton-
probably
you
wouldn't
telling me
pay
Southampton aren't
a
taking
fee for
Anthony?
him.
I don't think they are
On a free.
on a free.
Well, they could pay
Well,
for his wage.
yeah, they
They
probably
would.
take him on a free. But let's say, would any Premier League club that's outside of the relegation zone currently, would they take Anthony for his what SofaScore value him at, which is about 16 million euros?
So yeah,
I
so,
think there's more players to take a punt on.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
is it worth?
So Mudryk, if we're going, are you using SofaScore as your market value?
Yeah. So they had Anthony down at about 16 million pounds
Let me check.
as his
Mudryk.
like current estimated transfer value. So like I can't,
Drop-off.
you know, none of the big six are going to take him.
Well, not with
No.
no chance there.
I don't think Crystal Palace
Mm.
or I don't think West Ham would take him. I think they
Not on that right hand side.
They've
Then he's not getting
they've
another Bowen, is he?
They got
No.
Bowen, Kudus. I don't
He's
think.
terrible, isn't he?
Kudos.
No, not
No,
Kudus.
Kudus is
No,
great.
Anthony.
Anthony.
Oh, I thought
So I was just
I was
thinking
gonna
about
say,
it again, and my God, he's just
But
very,
yeah,
very,
you,
very bad.
You wouldn't have him
Which-
at Wolves.
I,
Which
I
was-
actually wouldn't have him. at
Which
Wolves.
was his game where he went, viral for his
Oh, man,
ultimate
the Anthony
spin.
spin.
He kept
That's a-
on.
If Kofi Blake listens to this podcast, so Kofi, for reference, we play pro clubs with. That
Yeah.
man loves an Anthony spin.
Does he?
That's the one. That's the one good thing that's come out of Anthony is the Anthony spin.
It's quite funny. Right, I'm going to move on from Anthony. Question number 2. Since the beginning of last season, and I did accidentally give this away, but I don't think any of you were paying attention. Since the beginning of last
You did,
season,
yeah.
what is Manchester United's cumulative league goal difference?
Minus 11.
No, because it's now this season. It's really bad, isn't it? This season.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
I think
what
they're
we're
at, like, I think
talking.
they're at like minus 11 already.
But do you think they finished negative last season?
Yeah, I reckon they
Probably,
probably
yeah.
did.
Where were you last season, for context? 6th?
Finished 8th
Eighth.
in the league.
Okay.
I reckon they probably finished around. I reckon they finished at about what they're on now.
Minus
Mm.
11.
Yeah.
I
feel
think
like
I think it's a little bit better. I think it'd be something like maybe minus 3 or 4.
Do you think?
Yeah,
What,
but
since
I
the
mean, I
start?
might be
No,
wrong
'cause
though.
Why would he,
Surely
why
not.
would
But
he
as in
set the quiz?
last season minus 3 or 4 plus the 11 from this season, so maybe
Okay.
So would you go like minus 15?
I'm saying minus 16 maybe. But I mean,
I can. As a,
It
as
could
a,
be
as
worse.
A,
As a
group,
collective,
we
it could
have
be
to
as
do
bad
that.
as minus
Yeah.
Are we
60.
gonna? I'll go with.
16.
I'll go with minus 16.
Okay, we're not that bad.
Oh,
it is.
fair.
Oh.
I thought you were worse. I thought
Yeah,
you were
it
It,
worse.
is fair.
it is minus 4.
Okay.
So we
To be
fin-
fair, that's not.
It's-
That's not too bad.
with
Wait,
Manchester
well, it is.
So
United.
Man
Yeah,
United,
yeah.
I was going to say, I'm thinking
Talking
of
about
Wolves.
mediocre.
Yeah.
If that was Wolves, that's not too terrible. But last season was the first time, I think, in the Premier League era that we finished with a negative goal difference.
And what was it last
It was
season?
minus 1. And then, which is awful. And then this current season, we're currently minus 3.
Oh, sorry, I'm just being. I'm
Oh yeah, I thought we.
No. I
No,
just
no,
got
no.
I got my shit wrong. Ignore me.
We got 11
I didn't
points.
lie.
That's what we got mixed up, wasn't
That's
it?
what I got mixed up.
Okay, question 3. Here's one for you. In Europe's top 5 leagues, how many clubs have scored fewer goals than Manchester United so far this season?
Well,
So you think there's 20 teams in the Prem,
Mhm.
18 in Liga, and in Bundesliga, and then 20 in Serie A and in La Liga.
Okay.
Well, in the Premier League, if correct me if I'm wrong, but is it just Wolves and Man United who have scored the lowest amount of goals?
No, we've scored a decent amount of goals. We're not low. We're not that low in terms.
Or is
of
it maybe
goals
that's conceded? I don't
yeah,
know.
conceded. Ugh.
But I don't know. You're low down in the Premier League.
That we are.
Do you want to know how many goals United have scored?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll help you.
8 goals in 9 games.
Christ.
So think about all the teams mid-table, below, relegation who've.
I would immediately.
I'd say 4.
Yeah.
I'd say 4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah, because for this to be a question, it has to be low.
But once again, it might not be as bad as we.
Maybe my gut reaction was 10, which is half.
It's a lot. It's a lot of teams, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a lot of teams. It's about 100 teams, and to be in the top, obviously horrible for you, isn't it?
10 or 15 is what I'd say.
Well, I'm going to say 4. I'm going to stick with my
I'll
guns.
go with 10.
I'll go in the middle. I'll go 8.
Yeah.
It's 9.
Oh,
I still
I'll
don't
tell
get
you
it,
what.
isn't it?
9. Only 9. This is. I'm excluding teams that have also scored 8, but only in the Premier League. I'm pretty sure only Southampton and Crystal Palace have scored fewer than Man United.
Christ.
And then
blimey. And how many of you scored? 8. Yeah.
8. And then there are a few in Serie A because that's quite a low-scoring league.
Mhm.
In Germany, you've got St. Pauli and Bochum are the only 2 who scored fewer than United.
God, that's bad.
It's not a list to be in comparison with, is it?
No.
Even we've scored 12.
In Liga, there is only Le Havre have scored fewer goals than Man United.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not good. And finally,
You found your level, haven't you?
of the last 12 European games
Oh,
that Man United have played in, how many have they won?
Ooh. Have they?
Well, in Europe this season they've played 3. Is that right?
They played 3. Yeah. In the
I can't
last.
remember what the results were.
No, but I think they played
Who did they
Ten
play?
Hag's old side, didn't they? And that was that a draw?
No idea.
I couldn't have done.
I think it was. What was it? It was who was it? Is Wall or the Dutch side at 10 Hag?
20.
20, sorry.
20.
And that was a draw, wasn't it?
Yeah, they drew with 20. That was funny.
Prick.
I think they've won 1.
I reckon they've won, lost, draw
Yeah.
in this season
Yeah, because they're really bad, aren't they?
because
You
it's
said
sort of
that
mid,
earlier.
yeah. So maybe 4 points, maybe.
Yeah, okay. But so then we've got the last 12. We've just got to guess. They didn't get.
How far did they get in the?
I don't know.
Was it the Europa League or Champions League
It
last
was
year?
Europa League last year, wasn't it?
We played in the Champions League last
Was
year.
it Champions League last
Did
year?
you get knocked out in the group
I
stages?
think they did. I don't remember them being in the semis.
I'm not going to give you any more hints.
Okay.
I don't think they got through the groups.
No, I don't think so either.
So, I would say, of the last 12, I'm going to say
3.
I'm going to say 4, 5. I'm
I
going to
was
say 5.
thinking,
What are you going to say?
I was thinking 4.
I'm
I'll go 5 then.
thinking 3 and then a lot of draws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 5.
1.
Seriously.
Fuck off. Is that real?
1
So
What?
this season,
in 12. That's
This-
like a year's worth.
it's 1 in 11 or 12.
What? Did that come this year? When did that?
1. So this season, we've drawn 1-1 against Twente, 3-3 against Porto, and 1-1 against Fenerbahce. Last season, we only beat Copenhagen 1-0 in the group stages.
Oh, shit.
We lost against Copenhagen, we lost against Bayern twice, and we lost against Galatasaray, and also drew against Galatasaray. And then going back before that, I'm including there was a draw against Sevilla and then a loss against Sevilla. And so I think it's the last 11 games, sorry, not 12.
Over the span of 3 seasons.
Yeah. So we got
One European game, obviously excluding the
So
back
yeah,
ends of.
one out of the last 11 European games.
I think Wolves could do a better job, but I think Bradford City could do a better
we
job
did
than
better
that.
in the Europa League than that, to be fair. We got Europa League, I want to say quarterfinals.
That is damning.
so
I think
good.
it's a let's all laugh at Man United podcast. This is.
That's
Yeah.
terrible, man.
Yeah, and that brings an end to my fucking quiz.
Well,
Oh wait, can I ask you quickly, actually, on thoughts as Van Nistelrooy's interim,
yeah,
and who you'd like, if
yeah.
anyone, to replace Ten Hag?
Well, I don't know how long Van Nistelrooy is going to last because I've seen an old picture of him in blackface.
I did see that this morning.
In where?
In
Sorry?
blackface.
As in, like, with the black face, like.
Oh goodness me!
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
I think it's a
Doing
weird.
the rounds.
I think it's a weird Dutch thing.
Yeah.
It is a weird Dutch
Yeah.
thing. But
It's
like,
also really bad.
It is weird. Probably, can you pull that up?
But I think on the manager front, obviously, it's difficult to decide where to go now because you've had them all. You've had the they've had the trophy winner. You've had the experienced managers like Van Gaal and all that sort of stuff. You've had Ten Hag the project. Where do you go?
So
You know,
I really don't know, and
that's
that's
the problem, isn't
It's
it?
going to be very interesting for
Oh, bloody hell, Chris.
Chris. Has just pulled up the.
He still does look like Van Nistelrooy, doesn't he?
It's not good though, is it?
That's not good.
That's very, very. It's not like it's like light. That's bad work. man.
That's like
When was that? For reference?
2013.
I suppose the world was a bit less progressive back then,
It's still not
but it's not great.
Still not
Yeah. So Van Nistelrooy is interim though. I mean, I liked him at PSV. You know, he's a young coach, but I don't think he's ready for a permanent managerial role. So I think we got to look elsewhere.
Well-
And then you're looking at who would be on a short list. Gareth Southgate, fuck off.
Who's the sporting manager?
Amorim,
Yeah, I like him.
Well-
but he's said he won't move from Sporting mid-season. Then again, you can tempt anyone with a bit of moolah.
Yeah.
Thomas Frank would be my pick.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
really
I
like
think
him.
he's the favourite for the job at the moment, alongside Graham Potter.
Right.
Would you
and
take
then
Graham
obviously
Potter?
I don't think I'd take Graham Potter. I think
I was-
his stock's gone so far down.
If I was in
Yeah.
your shoes after that Chelsea job, I don't
Nah.
think I'd ever made it anywhere.
But he
near
needs
the
that stable environment, and I don't. We're getting on the road to being stable, but I don't think we're fully stable yet. You know, there's
Some
a
more.
lot of people who've come in the summer.
What
and
about the
boardroom.
return of Jose Mourinho?
God, that would be funny, wouldn't it?
Kieran
That would
Could
be.
you-
Could you imagine if Jose came in and actually made United good again?
And then he sees Luke Shaw still there.
But honestly, I think Jose at United would be generational.
Mate, it would be.
Well,
the,
he was really good in his first season, wasn't he? Finished second. Was it second?
That was in the second
Season he finished second.
but he won the Europa League.
I think you had it all.
And he won the League Cup.
I think you just took it for granted when you had
I
Jose.
think that's my pick for the United manager. Give Jose Mourinho the job.
I'm
And let that man
saying
cook.
Thomas Frank because I don't think you can prize Julian Nagelsmann
Well,
away from the Germany national team.
I know it's Halloween this week. I don't want to scare you, but at 33-1, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer
That
is on the
doesn't
odds.
scare me though.
No, I Solskjaer's low-key underrated, like comparatively
And
to Ten
on
Hag.
on the Paddy Power website is what I've pulled up, and it says Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been linked with a Coronation Street style sensational return. Imagine.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but yeah,
Right.
it'll be eyes glued to the screen to see who succeeds that job, won't it?
All right, I think that's probably covered Man United and Ten Hag for this week at least. I mean, next week maybe
Just
we'll have a
enough.
new permanent manager and we'll spend half an hour at the pod.
Well, you've got
talking about
Leicester on. You've got Leicester coming up twice, obviously in the League and Cup. You got a big game against Chelsea in the league. That'll be your first one without, a proper manager in
that.
charge.
Yeah.
So
So what do I think?
yeah,
Well, I think Ruud will probably take over the next 4 games. I would have thought into the next international break. That would be the smart thing to do, and then have a manager coming over the international break. But
Get Bielsa.
so it's another write-off season for United then.
you know what? I would love Bielsa.
Wait, honestly, Bielsa would be next
because it
level.
would boil the
think
fucking
it-
piss
think
out
it'd
of
work?
Leeds fans.
Yeah.
And Leeds fans,
I don't think he'd do. I just don't think he'd do it though, because he was so obviously so
I guess when
good with.
I guess it
Leeds.
sort of changed when you put the offer of Man United in front of
Yeah.
somebody. Do you know
Look,
what I mean?
that would I really love Bielsa, but that's not going to happen.
Anyway, it's another day for United fans.
Yeah,
Just getting through it.
We'll move on to. Well, should we? We'll cover the rest of the football from this
Yeah.
week. First,
Yeah.
First of all,
It's a big game at the weekend. Obviously, Liverpool Chelsea.
Is that the
Liverpool
coming
Chelsea? Sorry, Liverpool Arsenal.
I was
It's not the
gonna
weekend
say.
just gone. 2-2, and you said you wanted to mention the VAR decision.
Yeah, I mean the VAR. It was an interesting one. Like, to be fair, I only watched the first 80 minutes because I had to leg it for the coach. But to be honest, I thought the VAR was actually pretty fine throughout the game. it was a game where, like, there's always going to be complaints, but actually, looking at this one, I don't think anyone can have any complaints.
The only issue I've seen Arsenal fans bring up is right at the end, there was a goal disallowed for
So
Arsenal.
I haven't seen
Was that the Kai Havertz goal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there was supposedly, I think it was Mikel Merino, was challenging for a ball. He looked like he won it cleanly, but then
Yeah.
Anthony Taylor blew for a foul as Havertz was putting it in the back of the net.
Well, what it was actually? Did you watch the game, Jimmy? So
No, I was on the train
it
home.
was. I only watched the last 10 minutes, so I did catch this
Between
bit.
us, we watched the whole
But-
game. Then.
But what had happened is it's quite confusing actually, because the commentator, whoever it was still had no idea that the whistle had gone. The whistle went.
Was it Peter
maybe-
Drury?
Possibly.
Did you watch it on Sky or did you
It
illegally
would have been
stream
Sky, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Would have been.
Don't
try
job
and
him.
catch you out.
Don't
Job him.
Shh. No. But the whistle had gone maybe 10, 15
Yeah.
seconds before the ball had actually gone into the back of the net. And the game just kept on playing, so everybody just sort of stopped. So I think it was probably right to rule the goal
Oh,
out,
it definitely
obviously.
was.
But
To be fair, I
the decision itself,
actually saw this.
you know,
Yeah, no, this will mean, like, irrespective of whether or not it's a foul, you can't then retroactively go, it wasn't a foul, therefore we're going to
yeah,
give the
because
goal.
those people stopped
Because-
playing.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
exactly. You played at the whistle.
Of course, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I did want to say, I don't like Thomas Partey because allegedly he has committed crimes that I'm not going to talk about. But
Libel, although
allegedly
Yeah.
is what I said.
he did.
But he played really well, I thought, at right back. Obviously, he's played right back previously. He hasn't done much of it at Arsenal, but actually looked really tidy.
Mhm.
But there are serious injury woes for Arsenal. With Saliba, obviously, was out this
Mhm.
game, suspended. But Gabriel went off injured. Who was the left back? Timber went down injured at one
Mhm.
point. So this is the thing is, so my little brother's an Arsenal fan, so I spoke to him a bit about this, and it's just they have a great kind of starting
Mhm.
back four, but behind that, the depth that they have isn't particularly great. You've got Kiwior, Zinchenko, who he reckons is crap, and I reckon
Kiwior
crap.
is wank. by the
Kiwior's
way.
crap.
Yeah.
Zinchenko's crap. Tomiyasu's crap. Who's the Partey? To be fair to him, was good. He's just dead slow, but he played a good game. But yeah, so I think Arsenal could struggle.
It's whether they've got the squad depth to
Yeah.
get through this
But
spell.
to be fair, you
isn't
look
it?
at Saka. Saka wasn't like everyone transferred Saka out FPL wise, and then he ends up starting captaining.
Well,
and
yeah, he was
scoring.
meant to be injured, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Saka.
Yeah.
Allegedly, he was
And
in-
Timber as well.
But I
Yeah.
think compared to I saw something this week actually on Twitter that made me laugh, and it was comparing it to Manchester City. Because I think last season they had a spell where they had a few injuries at the back, and I saw some Man City fan put on Twitter a caption saying, "Remember when we were in the trenches?"
Oh mate,
and it was a
pisses
back
me right
four
off
of,
that.
let's say, for example, maybe John Stones and the
Cliche.
starting
and
back
that.
four was injured,
Yeah.
Kyle Walker, whatever, and it had like Zinchenko, Gvardiol,
Oh, it's ridiculous.
two other centre halves who wouldn't normally start,
Yeah.
but still came to a collective total of about £300 million.
Like,
Do
this is what I mean, like the trenches, mate.
you know what I mean? So obviously
It's like the
compared
trenches
to
since you've seen Jesus Vallejo and
Gosh,
Patrick Catrone
strange.
on the same pitch.
compared to Manchester City, they haven't got the squad
No,
depth to compete.
but
have they?
to be fair, it was a really good game. Saka played really well, I thought. And to be fair, like Liverpool looked more up for it.
Well, I thought Liverpool played really well. I just thought they were unlucky.
I think Arsenal have this kind of tendency where they lead a game and they just want to sit back.
Mhm.
And against a team like Liverpool, you just invite so much pressure that the Liverpool equaliser was coming,
Mhm.
and it was sort of inevitable where Arsenal do just sit and sit and sit.
Yeah.
And I know that they were struggling with their back line, so they kind of have to do that. But it was a bit of a rough one.
Yeah, I'm going to blast through the rest of the Premier League results.
Yeah,
Chelsea beat Newcastle 2-1.
good game. Yeah,
Yeah, I watched that as well. I
Yeah.
thought,
Nicholas Jackson, what a hero on the FPL front.
what a man.
Yeah.
He's
firing.
he's turned around his kind of reputation. I think last season he was seen as a bit of a klutz, but I think he's proper developing into a top quality striker. Obviously West Ham 2, Man United 1. Ugh. But we've talked enough about them. Dr. Tottenham strikes again. They've gifted Crystal Palace their first 3 points of the season. Jean-Philippe Mateta with a absolutely filthy assist from Eberechi Eze.
Eze had a really good game as well, actually.
Mhm.
His assist was phenomenal if you haven't seen it. Everton got a last gasp equaliser against Fulham, which caused Beto to burst into tears after he'd been booed when he came on.
Yeah, I don't get that. I quite like Beto. I always thought he's got something about him, but The fans don't seem to like him much.
Yeah, but Everton fans are miserable cunts.
Yeah, he's a big lump of a man, isn't
He's very lumpy, but that brings Everton's unbeaten streak to 5 league games after losing their opening 4. So
They're doing well, to be fair to them.
they're doing all right. And it was another last gasp equaliser at Villa Park, but this time it was Evan Nilsson for Bournemouth who snatched a point there.
Mm-hmm.
Brighton 2, Wolves 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too deep into it because I've spoken about this kind of every week since we've been back. But it's paper on other cracks a little bit. Obviously, I'm really happy with the result, and 2-2 is a superb result for us, given that we were on 1 point thus far this season.
Mm-hmm.
But through the first 70 minutes, we looked terrible. Can't defend for shit. Brighton should have scored a last-minute goal to put us away. They had a 4-on-1, which somehow they fucked up, which led to our counter-attack. But you look at that 4-on-1 and you go, any better team scores that, and I was very, very happy that we equalised.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it buys Gary O'Neill time that I don't necessarily think he deserves. It was a shit performance that we happened to scam a point out of, and I'm not gonna be miserable about getting a point, but we still don't look like a proper team. So I am still worried.
I think to me, although obviously, I think it seems as though you're the biggest Gary O'Neill defender I've seen. Every time you say his name, a big smile comes out.
And this is, I as a bloke, I absolutely love Gary O'Neill. Yeah. As a manager, I'm losing faith every week.
Time's running out.
Yeah, it's the tactics seem all over the shop, and the subs are useless.
Well,
for
9,
me, which is half the job of the manager.
No wins from your opening 9 is quite damning.
But
isn't it?
And the thing is, I know that people are pointing out the fixtures, and I get that, but it's the way we've played. We even in those games, there were moments where we could have pressed our advantages and taken points, and we haven't. And that's what worries me, is that they don't look up for it, and the tactics don't set us up to be up for it. So I don't know, man. I'm worried.
Yeah, a City beat Southampton 1-0. Probably
Haaland.
a scoreline that not that many people predicted.
No.
Back on the score sheet.
But yeah, Haaland's
helped our FPL teams.
Haaland's first in after a 3-match
3 or 4, isn't it?
blank, I think it was. But Southampton obviously still bottom of the league with no wins, but
Get in there.
That leaves the bottom 3
it's
entirely without a win.
Yeah, it's encouraging though.
Come on.
Forest beat Leicester. Obviously, there was some interesting chants from the Nottingham Forest fans against their old manager Steve Cooper, but they won 3-1. Chris Wood brace there, and Jamie Vardy as well. So a good night for Bagsman. And then finally, probably the prime Barclays fixture of the weekend was Brentford Ipswich 4-3 ding dong.
I didn't watch that, and I wish I had.
So who won that? Sorry,
Brentford won 4-3.
Yeah.
They went 2-0 down and then brought it back to 2-2 by half time.
Did you see the game that Harry Clark had? I think that's his name.
Henry.
Is it Henry Clark?
Henry Clark. Oh. Shocker.
But yeah, what did he?
He got sent off.
It was subbed on.
Yeah.
Then it was an own goal, and then was sent off.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, what
Just
for?
Second yellow.
No, as in Ipswich.
For Ipswich, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I think he got subbed on at half time or in the first half. Gets a yellow, then own goal to make it 3-2 to Brentford. Then he gets sent off. And then, with 5 minutes to go, Ipswich equalise. And then in the 96th, it's Mbeumo who scores the winner.
Thank God for that.
Once again, another Mbeumo.
Yeah.
God, he's the second top scorer in the league at the moment. And I think he's in everybody's FPL teams.
He's in all of our FPL teams.
What a player.
Just before we wrap up the Premier League chat, let's just check how we all did this week.
Absolutely terrible.
Can you check for me?
Jimmy with a 57.
I think I probably got
what was
half
average
the
this
squad
week? Do we know?
I think it was
I did
about
terribly.
60. I had a solid but not spectacular week.
Jimmy 57. Freddie had an 85. Wow.
Jeez.
What did he do? He captained Palmer. What an oddball. He didn't have Haaland or Salah. Oh no, he got Salah. You know what? Fair enough.
I think he's actually playing the game.
Yeah.
He fluked
Freddie
it.
had 85. Bryn with an 81.
Ooh.
And then Joe 51.
It's not as bad as I thought it would be.
Again, solid but
Proddy?
not spectacular.
Yeah, I had a stinker.
Are you not related to
26?
FPL Tom? What the hell's happened here?
FPL Tom, who now has nearly 10.
Reveal.
You had
Reveal.
Haaland, Salah and Palmer and still got 44.
Yeah.
What the hell have you got Damsgaard? Probably that's so random.
It works sometimes.
And then I got 74.
Yeah.
But I'm just that guy.
I want to talk about some really interesting European fixtures that happened this weekend.
Yes,
Um,
let's.
Starting with El Clasico, a romp, really.
Absolute pummeling, wasn't it?
Yeah, it finished Real Madrid 0, Barcelona 4.
Don't know what I'm
And
laughing for, Chris.
yeah, the one thing that was like that I thought was
The
just crazy about this game was Kylian Mbappe. He scored 2 disallowed goals for Madrid, and he got caught offside 8 times.
I was so surprised when I read that earlier.
8
While we were planning it. 8.
8 offsides. Real Madrid had 12 offsides in total. Barcelona have got a fantastic offside trap. They've caught more
Did
teams.
you watch the game?
No, I caught the extended highlights. But Barcelona have an amazing offside trap where they've caught out the most teams out of anyone in Europe.
Mhm.
I think they've drawn 80 odd offsides against them already this season. It's something ridiculous like that, which is like 30 more than any other team. So, consolidating their 4-1 drubbing of Bayern Munich in midweek in the Champions League with a 4-0 win at the Bernabeu. Very good week to be
It
a
is, yeah,
Barcelona
yeah.
fan. And very good week
Well,
for their
there's-
La Masia graduates
Yeah.
as well. Marc Casado, who's heard of him? World-class player, apparently.
Well, Yamal scored, didn't he?
Yeah,
yeah.
Lamine Yamal scored.
They're 6 points clear of Real Madrid now in La Liga, so obviously that's looking like it's wrapping up.
Yeah, it's a good early
Already.
advantage. They've only lost the one game in the league so far this season. I think that was their only game that they've lost in all competitions as well for Barcelona. Lewandowski, by the way, brace. What a fine wine. It's very cliche, but 36 years old, and it's the older strikers. Him and Kane, who are just the best in the world at the moment.
He is phenomenal, to be fair. And actually, watching that game was one of the more fun games I think I've watched all year. Like, it was just, I had a smile on my face the whole time because it's not like, and to be fair, a lot of the reason I had a smile on my face was, I don't know how you say his surname properly. What's the young centre back for Barcelona called?
Marcus
Pau Kubasi.
Kubasi, that's the one.
That boy, right? Genuinely, every FIFA career mode I've done for the last year, I signed him. Every Football Manager save I've done, I've signed him. And to actually see him cooking in real life, I actually just felt like a proud dad. Honestly, him. Who's the DM?
That's Casado, isn't it?
No, it's
it
another Mark. Mark Bernal.
Bernal.
Yeah, he was brilliant. And those two have been in every career mode I've done. And I felt so proud. I felt genuinely, I was just loving it.
But yeah, I mean, after all the financial problems that Barcelona have had in the last couple of years, now that they look like they're finally going back to their roots of, not spending hundreds of millions on one player and crippling their club, bringing through these academy graduates that
Looking down,
tear
yeah.
apart their biggest rivals, it's pretty good.
Good. So it'll be interesting to see how they do in Europe this season. Obviously, I'm not sure how obviously they beat Bayern Munich in the week, but when it gets to those knockout stages,
I can't wait to see them against a team like Man City.
yeah,
Um,
no, a proper test.
yeah,
Liverpool.
those games will be good, really good. We had an absolute humdinger in Serie A. Inter 4, Juventus 4. Inter were 4-2 up in that game, but Juventus brought it back. We've had some. I found this story earlier this week, but in the Icelandic Premier League, we've had an incredible
Can I just
title
check?
race.
Probably, was it Iceland that you managed in on Football Manager, or was it Denmark?
I've done all the Scandinavian.
Oh, he's done it all, Chris.
No.
It's a Scandi. Yeah. But I saw this on TikTok earlier this week, and before this match happened, but the two top teams in the Icelandic League, Breidablik and Vikingur, were level on 59. Lovely on 59 points each. Level on.
Oh, he's messed up the English.
Not bad.
Let's say lovely on 59.
Lovely on 59.
They were level on 59 points each going into the final match of the season, where they play each other.
Ooh, tidy.
Love that. Breidablik went to Vikingur and won 3-0. So, Proddy, you
Yeah.
had
I also found an interesting story.
a really rogue one for us.
So I saw in the Mongolian Premier League.
This man must have been betting at 2 in the morning, man. There's no other reason why you look at the Mongolian Premier League.
TUV Azaganud
As a good nude.
have played 9 games this season, won none of them,
Nice.
scored 2 goals,
Wait for this.
and
This is
conceded 111 goals.
That is
It's worse than Wing Wednesday, is that, isn't it?
I know.
If we concede less than 111 goals all season, I'd be a very
We're better than
The worst result being 21-0.
Christ.
And we only lost 11-0 to Warren.
And we
Yeah.
thought that was,
That was bad.
bad. It was, yeah.
That's
I
not
mean, it was bad. Yeah.
TV.
Not TUV bad.
TV. What was that? Something.
As a good news.
As a good news.
As a good nude. Sounds vaguely Scottish.
I wonder what the quality of
That's not
football
good.
is like in
Oh,
Mongolia.
I wonder if they get paid. Do you reckon that's a professional league?
I mean, you're not getting paid if you concede.
It is a professional league.
If you're the goalie who's conceded 111 goals, you deserve a page.
You probably get
Surely
a
not.
fine.
Right, should we see? Let's go to. Where are the Azaganud in the Premier? Are they not in the Premier League? Buganud.
Buganud.
Have you just got the name wrong, Prod?
No, it's as a good news.
Azaganud.
Yeah.
I want to see if they've got.
Two.
I want to try and find the salaries here.
How are you going to find the Mongolian salaries?
I think I'll transfer that.
Pop it on LinkedIn.
Well, whilst Chris is searching for the Azaganud salaries, do we want to do a quick little Bradford-Mansfield recap?
Yeah, can just skim over it. Obviously, don't want to dwell on it too long. But we played Doncaster this weekend. Going into the game, we were 5th and they were 4th, just above us. Yorkshire derby, build up to be a good game. And to be honest with you, I mean, we lost 2-1. There was a lot of sort of angst on social media afterwards about how we played and what have you. I thought we weren't too bad. In the first half, we were solid defensively, and the whole half I was sat there thinking, no, this is what we've been missing is a strong defence, because we've never really had a strong defence the past couple of seasons, and we were really good. Looking back now, we were inviting a lot of pressure. They were coming at us from all angles, whatever. And in the second half, it was just two counter attacks really that opened us up, and our attack and front line didn't really start playing until the last 10 minutes, where we did turn it on and we were quite good, but it just was too late.
And Mansfield, very creditable draw against Birmingham there.
Yeah, and we also beat Wigan in the week 2-1. It's been kind of a defensive masterclass. I just checked, and across the 2 games we had 41. There was 41 shots against us.
Wow.
So to only concede 2 goals from that's quite
And
impressive.
Birmingham top of the league as well in
Yeah.
championships. That's
and
an
they'd only
impressive
lost
result.
1 goal, one game. Sorry,
It's a very impressive result.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Right, let's get away from football.
Can I
'cause-
wait just quickly? I've just done a bit more research into Azaganud.
Oh, you found them?
As a
So
good
we've not got salaries, but what we
Oh.
do have is Transfermarkt lists them as having only 11 players,
Brilliant.
2 of which are goalies.
Nice.
They have one 18-year-old on loan. The rest are should we have a look at the ages on the rest of them here, just quickly? If Transfermarkt will stop bombarding me. So the rest are 38, 36, 36, 32. And so 7...
Oh.
So give it a couple seasons. The
I will
team
say
doesn't
here,
exist,
just looking on Reddit, I've just had a quick look into it. Apparently there was a scandalous penalty call on the 25th minute, so maybe that would have changed the game a little bit.
but so in the transfer window just gone,
Mhm.
7 of their players left.
Brilliant.
And half of those went to the side that they lost 21 to.
Nice.
So it's not been a great week for Hazard.
Wait, was it 21-0 or 21?
21-0.
21-0.
That's ridiculous. Right, I've had enough of football
Yeah, let's
talk
get
now.
let's get into the
Speed for it.
What do we fancy? We can talk about the Mexican Grand Prix. We can talk about the NFL.
I don't want to talk about the NFL.
No.
Yeah. I'll be so honest. I'm not ready for that. chat.
Just skim through the Grand Prix quickly.
Let's do
Yeah.
that then. Mexican Grand Prix yesterday, won by Carlos Sainz off of pole. Pretty comfortable for him in the end. Lando Norris was 2nd and Charles Leclerc 3rd, with Max Verstappen down as 6th after receiving 20 seconds worth of penalties. Chris, what did you make of it?
Yeah, good race. Actually, really interesting race. Started really kind of competitively. Same thing happened from last week, which we actually spoke about, which was the whole Norris Verstappen back and forth, where once again Max Verstappen pushed Lando Norris off the track and was actually penalised for it this week, which was bloody lovely to see. Received 20 seconds in penalties for 2 isolated incidents, which dropped him down sort of massively. Other than that, there were good little races throughout the race. Russell versus Hamilton was really interesting. You had Colapinto, who didn't pit for ages, so was just sat in 6th or 7th, but had a really good drive. I think he came 3rd in the nominations for Driver of the Day. He looked good. Liam Lawson looked good. Yuki Tsunoda is a complete and utter idiot. Not really sure what he's still doing driving.
Was he the crash?
He was the crash. He's crashed. I think he crashed twice this weekend. I think he crashed. He was the one who crashed in qualifying, I think. So Yuki Tsunoda basically having a rotter. What else have I written down? Yeah, you had Sergio Perez, who had a rotter of a race. Qualified down the bottom. Then, basically, when you line up in Formula 1, you line up on the grid box. He lined up too far forward. So then, what was his penalty? Was it a 10-second?
5 second for full start.
So it was a 5-second penalty for him, which dropped him down to the back of the race. Then he was kind of going back and forth with Liam Lawson, who was in the RB car. And Liam Lawson passed him. And I saw this on Twitter this morning. But Liam Lawson passes him on one of the straights where he's going about 150, 200 miles an hour. And in that time, so bear in mind, Liam Lawson is looking to take Sergio Perez's seat. Sticks his middle finger up at Sergio Perez as he passes him on the straight. And I thought, do you know what? I love that. But yeah, Perez had a rotter of a weekend. Piastri's not doing too great at the minute. And I'm hoping to see a kind of comeback from him.
I mean, he couldn't get past Kevin Magnussen.
No. And saying that, though, Kevin Magnussen and both the Haas cars look great. No, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that.
Kevin Magnussen, my favourite driver.
Completely in the dark here.
We'll explain after. But yeah, the Constructors' Championship also getting really interesting now. So you have McLaren, who are on 566, Ferrari, who are on 537, and Red Bull are on 512. So it kind of shows the disparity between Max and Checo in that Max is leading the Drivers' Championship and will more than likely win it. Red Bull are sat in third because their two drivers, they've only got really one who's sort of putting in points. But McLaren will more than likely win the Constructors, but Ferrari have had two really good races in a row. They had a 1-2 and a 1-3. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Leclerc wasn't great, and he went off the track and gifted Lando Norris second place. Norris probably would have caught Sainz, and it's the same situation that he had kind of last week, where if the race was longer, he'd catch them, but he just didn't. He wasn't really within striking range, but he had a good race. That's about it, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at... So Perez is 8th in the Drivers' Championship.
This guy stinks, man.
He had 4 podiums in his first 5 races, but that's when, Red Bull were at their best in terms of, their car seemed dominant. But then, since then, he finished 4th in Miami, the 6th race of the season. Since Miami, there have been, I think, 13 races, and his highest finishing position has been 6th.
Christ. I also saw the stat, though, that Max Verstappen hasn't finished within 20 seconds of first place since before the summer break, which is when he took a photo with the Leeds United squad.
Who is this? Sorry, Max Verstappen?
Max Verstappen hasn't finished within 20 seconds of first place since before the summer break, after being pictured with the Leeds squad.
He needs to erase that picture.
Yeah.
Or take a picture.
I like the sound of that.
I thought you might. Your ears perked up.
He needs to take a picture with, Bradford.
Yeah.
Or Man United. Not Man United.
Not Man United. God, don't do that.
Maybe
No,
not
I
come
was
to
just-
Bradford either.
I was
Maybe,
thinking-
maybe Mansfield, actually.
Maybe Man United. Let's talk about...
We should probably mention the NFL, for being honest.
Look, I was
Yeah.
going to avoid it for your sake.
I would like to talk about
Go on,
it.
give us a rant, sum it up.
Right. It's not even going to be a rant. Because, to be honest, the whole game... So, again, for context, I've chosen to support the Chicago Bears this year. Right. The whole game, we looked shit, if I'm being honest. First half, we didn't get any points on the board. Third quarter, we kind of came back a little, and things looked up. And then, my God, this was stupidity. So, in the last 30 seconds, the Bears score a touchdown and go ahead in the game. All they have to do is salt the game away, right? It comes down to it where the Commanders have 2 seconds left on the clock, right? Last play of the game, and so in NFL, a Hail Mary is basically you just lob it dead far, see what happens. You're lobbing it towards the end zone. And,
Hoofball.
yeah, exactly. It's literally hoofball. But they lobbed it up there. And to be fair, what's the Commanders? Jackson Daniels is the
Jaden.
quarterback. Jaden.
Yeah.
Where did I get Jackson from?
Fuck
No
knows
idea.
something.
But yeah, he has quite a lot of time on the ball, to throw the ball, which again he probably shouldn't. But he lobs it right Proddy, can you pull up the video?
I'm watching it now.
Yeah, or Jimmy, just show Joe for context.
I haven't seen this either.
Oh,
But,
well, everyone just watch this, right? This is some of the stupidest shit I've ever seen. Right, bear in mind, I sent a picture to the chat and I was like, we've won it.
So which team are you for context?
The white ones.
The white ones.
Right. He's got so much bloody time, for one. The game is now finished, so this is the last play of the game. He just lobs it. Right, look at this for stupidity. All they have to do is swap the ball away and we win the game. Instead he tries to fucking catch it, misses it, it bounces to the bloke behind him who has no one marking him. The bloke who missed the fucking catch, right, as the play was happening, is taunting the opposition fans, right, like basically giving them shit. So he's not even watching what's going on because he believes we've won the game. It was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen.
I think that's got you more up in arms than the Wolves fixture.
But the thing is, Wolves, I don't expect anything. The Bears, I was like, literally, this is the last play of the game. There's no way we can lose from here. And
Can I ask why you chose to support the Bears? Do you change every year the teams you support?
No, to be fair, it's the first year I've properly watched the NFL.
Okay, is that
and
right?
so it was kind of like what I've kind of done with the teams American sport-wise that I support is kind of try and put them all in Chicago.
Fair.
So that if I go to America, I can go and watch them all. The only one that isn't in Chicago is the LA Angels, but I might have to just not support the Angels anymore because my God, those boys are terrible.
Yeah, I'm just going to mention the Eagles.
Yeah,
That
was a good game.
It was.
Yeah,
I always kind of get a bit disheartened after the first quarter because this season we haven't scored a touchdown in the first quarter. But I know we can always bring it back, and we did this time as well. 37-17 in the end. So, cracking game.
Yeah, the Eagles look really good actually.
Mm.
I think they'll do well. Do you boys want to crack on with some tennis?
Yeah, we'll keep it brief because we're coming to the hour mark now. But beep, 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 beep.
One main story I'm picking out is that Jack Draper has won his biggest title of his career with a victory in the Vienna Open. It's his second career title, and that's now brought him up to a career high of number 15 in the world. Just kind
Is he English?
He is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, he was the one that was like puking a lot.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah. Just to summarise kind of his first set, he won 95% of his first serve points, and he finished the game winning 6-4, 7-5.
Well
Can
done, Jack.
Can I ask, because I saw something in tennis this weekend and I wanted to get your boys' take on it. What the hell was going on with that Tiafoe bloke? I saw him screaming at some umpire. I don't know if that was like a recent thing or not. I saw it on Twitter.
I think it's from a couple of weeks back.
Oh, fair.
But
What a nutter.
he had a tantrum basically. I think he's apologised for it, got fined, whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't his finest hour.
No, that was poor.
Yeah, I mean we are coming to the end of the tennis season now, so I think all the players have just kind of given up a bit. Or the
Time violations, apparently.
Time violations.
Yeah.
Fair.
I mean, time's not, it's abstract. I don't know how you violate time. I wanted to touch on a story that's really fucked me off this week. Actually, a little mini rant. I'll keep this short. But ITV have announced that they are scrapping their Tour de France coverage from 2026 onwards. And that's really pissed me off because
Message to ITV.
yeah, fucking ITV. Like
Unless they want a
it's-
podcast.
it sucks because so Warner Brothers Discovery now have the rights for the Tour de France exclusively from 2026 through till 2030. Means that ITV, who got the broadcasting rights off of Channel 4 in 2001, they're gonna the Tour de France will now not be free to air for the next 4 years at least, and I don't hold out hope that they'll get those rights back. The Tour de France is the kind of the background to my summer. I love it. It is the premier event in cycling. Cyclists, I think, are some of the most incredible athletes in the world. The amount of pain they put their bodies through every day on those courses, especially the different types of cyclists. You'll have a sprinter who has to trawl through the mountain stages for 150 kilometres of something that no ordinary cyclist could do in 2 days, let alone 1 day, and then go on sprint on the next stage. You got all these storylines. It's so relaxing and tranquil.
It's gorgeous scenery.
Incredible scenery of one of the most beautiful countries in the world, France. And yeah, it's really sad because the ITV coverage is fantastic, and it's always been there. You know, I've really gotten into the Tour de France the last couple of years, but even as a kid, you know, I'd whack it on in the background, and it's just one of those. It's very comforting to watch. So I'm sad and I'm angry.
It's one of those events that is sort of similar to
All right, Thierry.
Yeah, Klopp is the manager. Brendan Rodgers has been. Yeah, no, but it's similar to sort of the World Cup and the Euros and the Olympics and those sort of sport, you know, the World Championships for that sort of reasons that it's meant to be a free to watch.
If they ever put the
event,
Euros behind a
you
paywall,
know,
I'll kill
imagine,
myself,
do you
man.
know what I mean? It's
Straight up.
similar. Obviously, it's
No,
not
you
as big,
wouldn't.
but
You
it's-
just watch it on like.
No,
Stream.
but it's not. No, but the point is, like, I know that I can watch it, but the point is, like, it should be free.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I would kill myself out of principle after the Euros, probably.
After England lose again.
After I lose £500 betting during the tournament, yeah, probably. But I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say. Other than that, I don't think there's much else to touch on, really.
No, Wing Wednesday. We haven't talked about this on this episode, and
I think we do a big Wing Wednesday section next week after
Yeah.
we've beaten Royal Park Rangers.
that is the team we're playing on Wednesday.
Shall we give a quick update on what the score was this week, though?
Yeah, we'll give a score
briefly.
update.
We lost 4-0.
We lost 4-0. Do you want to talk about your antics, or should we save that?
We'll save that.
Let's save that.
It wasn't my
It was a feisty
antics.
game, wasn't it?
It was a
To say
feisty
the
game,
least.
yeah.
And the video has still not uploaded onto VO.
Maybe
which
when
I
we
think
get the
we're being
maybe when we get the
I think
video
that video's
clip,
being
we'll do
blocked because it puts them in a bad
We
light.
could do like a compilation of all the moments. We can sum it up. Do you know what I
You
mean?
could edit it, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Maybe not.
yeah. But unless we got anything else that we are desperate to
I'm all good, mate.
I don't think so.
talk about.
Nope.
No. Well, then I think that wraps it up for this week.
It does, yeah. Right, let's do the spiel. Let's remember what we've got to say. You've got to like and subscribe on YouTube. You've got to rate us on Spotify. You've got to follow us on Instagram. You've got to follow the Dew Lakes on Instagram, who have a gig tonight.
We do, yeah.
I mean,
Porto.
then, it'll.
If you're listening next week, we've got a gig tonight. Be there.
I'll actually be there, which will be nice.
Good.
And then our game is on Wednesday at
3:15.
3:15. Not a clue where it is.
Be
But
there.
Be there. Follow. What's the LSTV? Have you got an LSTV Sport?
At LSTV, maybe?
No, it's just LSTV.
Well, follow LSTV. Follow at this is LSR_sport.
Keep your eye on the
Frame
Griffin
by
Sports
frame
section.
by frame.
Yeah, frame by
Yeah,
frame.
frame by frame.
There's got to be a better way of doing that.
Joe and Izzy's radio show.
Yeah, Jimmy's
Jimmy's
radio
radio
show.
Radio.
Chris's Untitled podcast coming soon, but you guys don't know about that yet.
Untitled Unmastered.
Yeah,
Alfie's
Uh,
Instagram.
you can follow my Instagram
Yeah,
if you really
Chris's
fancy.
photography.
No.
Instagram.
Yeah,
My LinkedIn.
yeah. Follow
All
my
of our
LinkedIn.
LinkedIns,
Yeah,
please.
that's great. Actually, I'm trying to get to 500 connections. So that'd
Yeah.
be really nice.
And try not to turn off after 5 minutes of this podcast.
Right, let's wrap up, shall we? I've been Chris Tarkor.
I've been Joe Rainbow.
I've been Alfie Langford.
And I've been Jimmy Blackburn.
Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye bye.